FBI needed the answers to three important questions. Who were these men? What brought them to that parking lot on the morning of September 11th? And
also, just so you guys know, they were there before the first plane hit. Very important for you guys to know. They were there before the first plane hit, chat. Okay?
did they have any advance knowledge of what was going to happen that day? The men said they were just taking pictures at the time. They said they worked for a company called Urban Moving. The FBI obtained a search warrant for the company's offices.
2 SUVs were filled up with between 9 and 12 boxes and computers.
Not long after the arrests, the offices of Urban Moving were simply abandoned. Almost everything was left behind. In jail, the five...
So, let me get this straight. FBI raised the goddamn moving company, and the thing is abandoned. Right after 9/11. And then also, I'm going to fill in some gaps for you guys. Also, the owner of this company was a guy named Dominic Suter. Right after the FBI conducted this search warrant and identified the owner as Dominic Suter, they tried to contact him. Guess what happened? He fled all the way back to Israel. Dude turned into fucking Goku. And to this day, they still don't know where he's at pretty much. But he was listed as a target on the investigation. See, and this is the problem with people like Andrew Schultz and Michaela Peterson or whatever. They simply don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And David Sachs. Conspiracy theory? This is mainstream media from the fucking early 2000s. This isn't a conspiracy theory anymore. There's declassified FBI reports that show that this actually happened.
Five Israelis were repeatedly interrogated and given lie detector tests. Stephen Gordon was their American lawyer.
They were asked questions if they had ever been approached by or hired by any non-United States intelligence community.
Now, the other thing that happened, they failed the polygraph test, guys. Okay? They failed the polygraph test. But guess what? They spent about 70 days in immigration custody, and then they were sent back to Israel. And then when they went back to Israel, they appeared on a TV show where they admitted that they knew and had foreknowledge about this happening. Matter of fact, hold on. See if I can find it for you guys real quick. Oh, and then also, just so you guys know, this guy was the head of the Department of Justice Criminal Division at the time. His name is Michael Chertoff, okay? At the time when 9/11 happened, this guy was the head of the Department of Justice's Criminal Division side. He also was responsible for what? The co-author of the U.S. Patriot Act.
Welcome, punch!
Right? So let's look here at his career. Well, actually, let's check the early life real quick. And yeah, every single time. Right? Anyway, but let's go to his career, right? So what was he doing in around 9/11? Let's see here. He was So he was appointed by Bush to head the criminal division of the Department of Justice. I was correct. Serving from 2001 to 2003, okay? Chertoff was a senior Justice Department official on duty at the FBI Command Center right after the September 11th attacks. He led the federal persecution case against suspected terrorist Zacharias Moussaoui. 2002-2003, Chertoff provided legal advice to CIA on the use of coercive interrogation methods against terror suspects such as Abu Zubaydah, right? So this guy was head of the criminal division, and these fucking Israelis were released. Just so you guys know, back then, there was no Department of Homeland Security. There was INS. What is INS? INS, guys, was the Immigration Naturalization Service, right? It no longer exists. It disbanded in 2003 after 9/11. But INS, right, used to be a part of the Department of Justice. So when these guys were in immigration custody, right, after they were arrested, this guy Chertoff oversaw the INS. So he was able to facilitate their deportation back to the United States. Now we got the Department of Homeland Security, but back then, the DOJ had precedence over immigration matters. Now, DOJ doesn't have any precedence over immigration matters. That's the Department of Homeland Security. So this is a very important detail that many people leave out. Because INS was combined with U.S. Customs Service to create ICE after 2003 with the Homeland Security Act of 2003. Okay? And I also find it interesting how this guy Chertoff was a co-author of the Patriot Act. It's like
Welcome, punch!
connection after connection after connection. So is it really a fucking conspiracy theory? Andrew Schultz, you fucking idiot. Michaela Peterson, completely unaware. If any other group of people had been witnessing a terrorist attack on U.S. soil, taking pictures, celebrating, and had foreknowledge about it and failed polygraph tests and were identified as intelligence assets of a foreign country, those motherfuckers would be at Guantanamo Bay to this day. Tell me I'm lying. If anyone else had been caught in a situation like this from any other country, they would be in Guantanamo Bay right fucking now. But guess what? Since they were Israeli, they were released. And then when you do pinpoint who ran the Department of Justice back then in INS, this fucking guy. Oh, yeah, and just so you guys know, his mom worked for the fucking Mossad back in the day. It's like, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up, bro. But then they'll sit there and call you a conspiracy theorist when they're unaware idiots and ignorant to the facts. None of this is conspiracy theory. I'm showing you guys fucking Wikipedia that proves this shit. I'm showing you guys mainstream media that proves this shit. This ain't a conspiracy theory anymore. At all. Simply put, it's this. Okay? It's simply this. When the attack happened, Israeli intelligence assets were there to document the event and celebrating the attack. They had foreknowledge that it was going to happen. They were arrested by the FBI. 2 of them were identified as intelligence assets, and with question, they failed a polygraph test. So, at bare minimum, they had foreknowledge of what was going to happen, and they didn't go to the authorities beforehand. Then on top of that, they worked for a movie company that was a front that was paid for by the Mossad. Urban Movie System was funded by the Israeli intelligence. And then their owner, after a search warrant was conducted, fled to Israel. There ain't no conspiracy theories there. That's 100% fact. It's in the FBI reports. But then people like Andrew Schultz and Michaela want to go ahead and write it off as a conspiracy theory. And then Andrew Schultz has the nerve to say they're going to thwart 9/11s. Motherfucker, they facilitated 9/11. Give me ones in the chat if you guys didn't know that, between the Chertoff stuff and everything else. Because a lot of people don't make that link with Chertoff, that this was the head fucking guy. And this guy ended up writing the Patriot Act after 9/11, which took away a lot of our rights and liberties and allowed the U.S. government to spy on U.S. citizens and the invasive surveillance state we have now. Give me ones if you guys learned something. All right, let me read some of these chats real fast. We got here, G noticing, I'm an American J, and after digging for over a year, you anti-Semites got solid points. I love you all. I want you guys to have the sticks back for real. Shalom, niggas. Thank you, bro. Third Eye Prophet says, Andrew Schultz is a loser trying to give, dude Sims for the Dems, always trying to give them advice, telling them that they basically need to figure out what people like and lie and manipulate. Sick of dudes like him trying to give the left advice. He's a lefty. Yeah. I'm an American J who wants the Israeli Jewish dominance over our country. Okay. All right. Thanks, G, noticing. Okay. I think we are caught up here. Reading some of the chats. So anyway, let's get back to the Houthi stuff. But yeah, guys.